start to get rewarded. But
because you don't want to rob the confidence of them making mistakes and building their own thing, right? So how do you do that?
With that, we're trying to do it like our parents did it. Give them, coach them for confidence and hard work. The results will come. And I always thought that my parents did me such a justice. When I got older, I realized there were a lot of kids who I went to school with, both in high school and in college, whose parents were cracking the whip for them to get good grades, and it prevented them from getting good grades. And my parents always said, "Look, if you do your best, I trust that you'll get good grades. So don't worry about it. Just do your best." And whenever whenever I didn't do my best and they asked me, I had to say I didn't do my best because it might come back in evidence at the end. But it was rare because they trained us to just do your best. That's all we want. We don't forget about the grades, do your best. And it was the same in sports. Just do your best. And I'm trying to do that with our kids, even though we have more than what we did growing up. Doesn't mean our kids have to have, 4 times as much as that they would have had.
Right.
And it's not like, we would get pizza growing up when we got report cards. That was our reward for good report cards. Italian Fiesta, pizza.
Let's go.
We do the same with these kids, but we have pizza more often than when we did. Okay, we go out to dinner more. Than we did.
Of course.
We go on better vacations.
Sure.
But when it comes down to just working, just work hard. Work hard, and you'll be rewarded. And that's it's lovely to see between my 2 older kids and her 2 older kids, or her 2 kids. They're all adults out on their own in their in their early 20s and early 30s, not in our basements.
Right.
So it's and they figured out budgets. They figured out their relationship with money, and that's the one thing that my dad spent a good amount of time with us, showing us the value of money. And I think that's important too in this day and age, because we do have more money than I did growing up, and helping our kids understand. Like my wife Kelly only buys stuff on sale. So our kids look for things when they want something, they know it's got to be on sale or they got to spend their own money.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think you've got to know who your kids are, right? And that starts really early. I think all of that work starts way earlier than a lot of parents think, because it's about boundaries.
Yes.
It's about respect. It's about teaching your kids how to hear no.
Not giving them everything.
Not giving them everything, and being okay with their disappointment. And that starts at 3 and 5. It started way before we entered the White House, even though they were really young. It starts with discipline and not being afraid to discipline your kids, doing it with love, but still doing it and being consistent. So our kids, even coming to the White House, were already at 7 and 10, those kids, right? So then the worry became, like, and for all of our kids, I don't want you to think that you have to be this, right? Because the pressure can go the other way. And our kids are Obamas, right? They enter the room with a name and a face that, makes them have to prove something. So for my kids, because of who they are, they're already hard workers. They're already good people. I hear this everywhere they go. They know how to enter a room and treat people kindly. They're gracious. They've learned how to be diplomats in this process, because this whole experience that I was worried about also taught them how to maneuver in the world. So now I worry about them feeling like success has to look like what we did.
Getting to the White House or getting the top.
Come on, like, this is unusual, right? This is not the norm.
And did your parenting style shift or evolve pre-White House, during the White House, and post-White House?
it evolved not because of where we were, but because of their ages, right? You know, my kids lived in the White House longer than they lived in any house. So they came in at 7 and 10, and they came out the year that Malia graduated. She graduated from high school and took a gap year in our last year because she didn't want to go to college as the president's daughter. She didn't want to have a detail.
Interesting.
Right? So she took a gap year for that reason. Sasha graduated from high school when we were, you know, post White House. So they were different people. So now you move from creating boundaries to being an advisor, right? And slowly giving, for me, I felt like my job is to every year give you more rope. Every year give you more control of your life. Every year step back even more to get out of the way. And I wanted to do that before they left my house because I wanted to see, what do you do when you have all the rope? And mistakes were made.
Wow.
Louis,
I'm sure.
let me tell you. And mistakes were made.
Yeah.
But it was better for me to see those mistakes so we could come home and talk about it. We could, you know, we could institute punishments. We could, you know, I didn't want to know that when they were out of the house. And so I gave my kids a lot of their rope with each phase. But that had more to do with who they were and how I wanted them to develop, because they weren't going to have Secret Service their whole lives. So it's like, you got to learn how to drive.
Yeah.
And you got to learn how to drive with your agent. So we had to switch that around. It's like you're driving in the car by yourself and your agents are following.
Wow.
So now you have to learn how to manage and communicate with a group of grown men on how you're moving in the world, because you have to do this.
Yes.
You know, you have to learn how to get gas. You have to learn how to get on a bus. You have to learn how to get on a plane by yourself. And I can't be there to do that with you because I still have all that, right?
Yes, right.
We're Phoenix Energy, a family